Brandy, good crypto morning. How are you?
Doing fantastic this good crypto morning, JP. Thank you so much for bringing this session to my attention.
This just dropped on a Twitter. We have been talking about all this regulatory uncertainty, and it turns out Kyle Twain, he's a partner at Valhalla Capital, just tweeted out that Binance Labs personnel in the USA is being asked to move to the Middle East or leave the company.
Holy Toledo. I'm just looking this up, and there's obviously some major drama going on because it's also being reported that a new general counsel is being appointed because of new intensifying legal troubles.
Oh, wow. I didn't see that.
Yeah, this just showed up right now. You intrigued my interest. You brought this to the table. I'm like digging into it. I'm like, what? Wow. Holy Toledo. I feel sad for the folks working there at Binance. There's a lot of good folks that work at Binance. They're not all bad. Come on. Yeah, I feel bad for those folks. This is a crazy time. I haven't even read this whole article, but I was just trying to dig in what's happening with Binance. They're apparently looking at or considering moving.
Yeah, let's give a little more context. So let's just dig into the recent past. We understand that Binance is tussling with U.S. regulators the same way that Coinbase is. This article in financemagnates.com, June 26, reported that Binance mulls over a Middle East focus amid regulatory pressure in the West. And so we see this beginning to brew in June, is talking about Binance pulling out of Europe and considering the UAE, which we have talked about being crypto friendly. Dubai self-proclaiming itself as a crypto city, and CZ has been saying that Binance sees UAE as a hub for future operations. And they've been grappling with the SEC and the CFTC. Now, we just received news about Ripple getting a one-up on the SEC. We'll go into detail on that in a different video. You can see that. So we won't get into details here. Binance has been considering its options as a company will. And the thing that, I don't know if the SEC realizes this, but in this world of a decentralized world, companies have options. They're not ground to a geopolitical location as they once were.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Borderless technologies that have global access, they have options?
Absolutely. Mind-blowing, is it not?
Mind-blowing. Yeah. Holy Toledo. So in our morning show, and by the way, it's morning anywhere, any time of the day, somewhere in this world.
It's always a good morning.
Always a good morning in crypto. So anyways, the cool part that we talked about on our show earlier that we recorded was the fact that UAE is investing so much into Bitcoin mining. And now you have the Web3 community going in there, looking at this as a solid opportunity to strategize their next development efforts, because they're more of a protected class in an area with a government that's providing safer regulations and confidence from an investment standpoint. Come here, we'll help you guys out. That's essentially what's going on. The crazy
confidence. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we don't have confidence in the United States.
And no, and this is something that I just want to point up here. This is NASDAQ.com. This is today. They must be repurposing the article from Coinbase, but straight on NASDAQ.com, why crypto companies are warming to the United
Arab Emirates.
UAE.
If you don't know it in your Web3, you better learn it quick.
Right? Nonetheless, they're warming up to it. Now this is on NASDAQ. Like, okay, sure. Coindesk has been around the block. We also have the block, but we have all these new verticals within Web3 that have formed, these communities that have now become hubs that are trustworthy. And Coinbase is one of them. Certainly, NASDAQ has opened up to the technology. This is a different world today in technology. Tokenization of assets, large and small. Come on, it's all happening. Why would the United States want this to happen? Why would you want to continue to push all the innovation to Dubai? And I think maybe that might be one reason that's motivating further advancements with XRPs, because we need to solidify some confidence here. Because listen, the projects are doing well, like Binance, who have made an impact, that have an influence. They're going to be seeking a place to lay a new foundation so they can take care of their customer base, which is
Right.
global.
The Biden administration needs to wake up to these facts.
Wait.
There's going to be a lot of political fodder. We're going to be entering into a political year. A lot of political hay is going to be made of this, and in this case, it's not even hay. This is real grounded stuff. We are losing to the UAE, and if the United States doesn't change its stance, then deservedly so.
Are we going to have an arms race here in regards to what country is going to provide better regulations that's going to safeguard crypto digital assets?
Countries are going to be incentivized to offer services to sovereign individuals who can provide the most value, and countries that wake up to the fact that cryptographic companies, decentralized companies, are not going to be geographically bound as they were in the 20th century are going to be the winners.
The UAE has followed a different playbook, and the digital asset industry has taken notice. I think United States is going to take notice, and I think that we're going to have a great potential arms race here, because this is a sector that's fueling innovation in many different facets. This is far-reaching technology, more so than just your standard, hey, I want to fund a project with an ICO. Hey, maybe we need an NFT for an art project. No, this is literally network utility power. When we're saying network energy, the utility power, it's that Swiss Army knife. It's that thing like when we were talking about XRP being a security and a commodity, that utility power is there in this tokenized world. Assets of everything, commodities of everything, all can participate without having a walled garden in a very public and transparent way. If they need to, they have options. That technology is here. UAE is accepting it. United States should be waking up to it. If they're not waking up already, wow, missing the boat. I think the future of what we look at as geopolitical powers is going to shift with this. It's no longer just about oil and war machines. It's going to be about providing real value, instant communications, and bringing a competitive landscape that's open for markets, so everybody can participate in the same sandbox.
Our trajectory is frictionless markets.
Frictionless market. That's what we need.
Frictionless markets. That's where we're headed to.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we are removing friction in the marketplaces. Money is moving faster.
Mm-hmm.
We are removing friction in markets, and this is the trajectory. So countries that are open to frictionless markets are going to win and immensely. Consider Web 2 and the value that was created with Web 2 and centralized internet, how much friction that removed. Web 3, although nascent, is going to remove even more friction. This is not going to be just more of the same. This is going to be a multiplier.
That's interesting. I want to dig up some of these laws because they have.
We're definitely going to dig in. We're going to dig in this for the Thursday show. I've got a couple more quick hits.
Okay.
This story is going to continue to develop. There's no way this is going away. I am in my mind. I'm imagining all the Web3 journalists feverishly typing away at their keyboards and getting stories out as fast as they possibly can. This is huge. We have another one from the CEO Middle East by Tala Isa, July 13. That's today. UAE faces historic opportunity as U.S. crackdown on Binance and Coinbase fuels exodus. This is another word of confirmation that we're seeing this exodus. And Michael Gronger, who's the CEO and co-founder of Chainalysis, saying, I think there's a key opportunity for the UAE right now.
They're seizing it. It's happening. It's not like, I think there's an opportunity. No, there is an opportunity. I'm curious. I want to dig in. I'm like, okay, what if I want to start a business there? What does that mean for me? Where's that packet?
And they're going to be looking into it. Gronger did say in 2011, maybe things went too far and regulators turned a blind eye because it was just too small to care about. So now there's the correction, right? We've got a pendulum. We see this pendulum a lot. The pendulum was, oh, we don't care. It's not nothing. It's not even real money. And now the pendulum is, it's not money, but we want to tax it and we're going to regulate everything. And so we need to get this pendulum somewhere closer to a more moderate area. Yeah. And so let's see, we've got one other tweet that's all more bad news, RIP USD on Binance US. Binance US is removing all USD pairs. If I can make that larger.
Ooh.
On July at 8 p.m. Pacific time, 11 p.m. Eastern. That is 6 minutes from now.
Will they list XRP though?
Will they list XRP? I'm willing to bet they will. I believe that Coinbase is listing XRP. I saw it, so
wait a second.
XRP.
Binance is delisting the US dollar, but they're going to relist XRP, or they already have XRP. Let's check.
That's telling. Let's see. That's
ouch.
Telling. That is a big ouch.
That is ouch to the United States. Come on, our leadership in the United States needs to jump up and recognize this. This is not a good situation for us. Like, if we have more innovation that has global influence, that's leading to other countries, that has open arms for them with clear guidelines, they have confidence, they're going to move the whole ship, all their workings, to a new country to reestablish themselves. You're doing something wrong.
Right. Imagine how expensive that is to uproot, and they're saying it's worth it.
Yeah, and how are you going to bring how are you going to bring and attract that innovation back?
How are you going to bring it back?
Yeah, I don't think you can.
If you spite someone, being human nature, it's very difficult to get over that spite. And if you are, you've got to give so much more than you would have if you just found a peaceful resolution.
Let's check on these pairs. So Binance is indeed listing XRP. It is amazing. It's still there, but it shows USDT. On that tweet, does it show that they're delisting USDT as well?
No, the tweet doesn't show USDT. It shows USD. So like BTC USD, ETH USD, USDC USD, and I think you asked about V. It does say VUSD.
Very interesting. So basically anything that's a synthetic stable coin, even a reference dollar, it's approved for Binance. But anything that is the official dollar,
Wow. It's almost like this is war. That's almost a war statement.
It is a finance. It almost seems that way, especially they go to Dubai, they set it up. They're going to end up being successful. There's a large treasury reason. We know that Binance has the means to work through this. We've seen it before with Coinbase. It's going to happen. And to me, it's a loss. Like, it would have been so cool to see Binance solidify in the United States and be a strong partner, creating great competition. Great competition is good for the users. If you go down and get fast food and you want to drive down, you're going to get a better deal on fast food. You have a lot of other fast food chains in the same area competing for the business. This is what we want in an open marketplace. And for the United States, this is just such a loss.
Will Binance.us shut down, and will U.S. citizens no longer have access to Binance, or do you think it's too big of a market for them to ignore, even if they don't like it?
I think Binance is going to come back in. I think it's going to happen no matter what. They're still going to have hooks inside the United States. A sector in the United States is one of the most leading countries when it comes down to innovation that impacts global quality of life for everybody, right? Like, it's not just financial technology. It's the way that we look at infrastructure. It's the way that we look at innovation. We have Tesla, the next generation of services, all that innovation. That a lot of it is concentrated in the United States, and it affects everybody, and rightfully so. It shouldn't be held back. It should be for the greater good. And we've seen it. Like, China is now, it wasn't ever really looked at as a competitor to the United States when it comes down to financial power, economical financial power. They are a strong contributor and now a direct competitor. And what we're going to see come out of this move going to Dubai, and we talked about it before, JP, we're going to have countries now all trying to secure not only these projects, but the talent. They want to get the talent in. They want to be known as an innovation supporter, as a leader, because this gives them global influence and power. It's no longer the old school method anymore. They need to start adopting. United States, they have to see this. Regulators, I'm so surprised it's taking them so long. I'm just so surprised.
I saw some other interesting information. This is kind of tangential to what we're talking about. You mentioned BRICS, and I just saw this earlier today, is that the share of BRICS is right, has just crossed over G7. Now the little dots here, this is all conjecture. This is extrapolation of trends. But here we see a crossover with BRICS, with the Brazil, Russia, India, China, and UAE currencies.
That crossover seems to be a confirmed crossover. Those dots is a indicator. This is known as a leading indicator, right? Because we're trying to be predictive here.
Right.
But it's confirmed. The BRICS have outpaced the G7. Now, what's that? What does that mean? Like, what does that mean? I have an idea.
These are baskets, right? Baskets of currencies. Mm-hmm. And so the G7 contains Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the US.
Oh, that sounds like IMF. Isn't that the IMF? That's the basket of IMF.
It might be. I'm not savvy. So, and then BRICS is Brazil, Russia, India, China, UAE. And if you want to check on that, be my guest.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, because it's interesting. Are we now, did the IMF screw up so much now they have to sit there and report it as G7?
Let's see. Is G7 the new IMF?
Yes, check this out. This is just a quick little look at this. Just a quick little search on Google legacy search here. I should have asked AI, but a basket of currency: US dollar, euro, Chinese yen. This is just right off the top, but Japanese yen and the British pound. When you hear G7, that's major advanced economies.
Right.
Russia's not part of that. They're saying specifically major advanced economies.
Yeah, I think Russia's economy is, given all the sanctions that we've placed on them, we put a big dent in their economy.
We sure did. So it's manipulated. I mean, it's manipulated. I mean, I'm not sugarcoating it. That's a manipulation. We're manipulating market conditions to stifle, and they're not considered an advanced economy anymore. That's a punishment to them. I don't know what's really going on there, but what I do know is that I find it interesting that we're having all these advancements. We're having so many changes. The IMF sitting there saying, hey, we were wrong. You were right. Tokenization is important. That's basically what they said. And then now we have this G7. You just showed the chart of the 7 emerging economies, and there's a convergence going on. And now you have BRICS, and there's allies there that are also allies with the United States. And there's this conflict. It's like, I can't help but wonder how that is going to be handled, because India, for instance, is part of BRICS. That's a solid ally for the United States. If there was further geopolitical intensities with the current war that's happening with Ukraine, how is that going to impact BRICS? How's that going to impact being an ally with the United States? India, this is very complicated in a sense.
Absolutely. Complicated world that we live in. It takes a lot of nuance. We're going to be here for you. And I'm just waiting for the S curve of Bitcoin to shoot past both of them.
Please.
Right. And take over as the world economy, the world currency.
Yes, it would be so much easier in the sense of having confidence as an everyday person, just wondering if the government's doing what they say they're doing. I really like that transparency at the root of it. That's my love and passion for blockchain.
Right.
Just the technology itself to give that confidence. There are ways that you can replicate blockchain services in a private data set. That is at the heart of blockchain. Blockchain could be private, it can be public. But the notion of today's modern usage of blockchain is the idea of decentralized, public, fair access that allows trustless environments to flourish in areas that were often having trust issues. And I love that sentiment of what we call today blockchain.
Absolutely.
The UAE, I'm just thinking to myself, it's only like a little over 3% mining power for Bitcoin. I'm just wondering what the total hash power is going to be. What about the computational power going on?
You said that. UAE, citizens of UAE, apparently they own more cryptocurrency than any other nation in the world. And US is way down on the list.
I mean, the US has a little over 320 million people for its population. There, let's look at UAE. 3.7% of Bitcoin mining activity. with all these companies like Binance, all that network power there, they're also looking at things like infrastructure. JP, this is more than just, oh, this is official business operations. They got to look at the fundamentals. How are they handling network operations? What type of proxies are those network routes going through? Are those proxies safeguard against malicious actors or governments that want to close it off? I think there's so much more here. This is not as easy as flipping a switch. There's a lot of underpinnings and learnings. We're going to see network hash power more in UAE grow far greater than the 3.7% we've seen with Bitcoin mining activity. We got real data networks that need to be serviced and maintenance. We have proof of stake blockchains that are going to be going over. You got exchanges like Binance. They have servers and infrastructure that tap in. They too are running nodes. This is going to get crazy real quick. This world in crypto, 6 months from now, it's going to be a different world when it comes down to business logistics.
United Arab Emirates, they put the population at 9.5 million. Crypto ownership, almost 28%, 27.67%.
They're like, hey, we had a lot of money in oil. The world's changing. Crypto's looking pretty good.
They're prepping. They're wise. Look,
right.
UAE is forward a visionary population. This surprises me. Vietnam, just under 100 million population, they own 20.5% of crypto ownership. And your next one, Singapore, which I would expect to see on that list, 6 million, just under 14%. And then close behind them is Iran, being at just under 13.5%, which makes sense given the political situation in Iran that the citizens would use cryptocurrency. Like you also see Venezuela on there. I'm a little surprised not to see Nigeria, but I think they just made it actually legal to own cryptocurrency. And then the United States is actually in 5th place here, below Iran. They've got us at just under 340 million population with 13.22% crypto ownership.
We very well could see crypto solving one of the biggest pain points in human history, and that's fair access to marketplace conditions for all. Mm-hmm. Finally, for once, we are seeing decentralization taking its power amongst emerging markets to give them some freedom and confidence without having other people outside their community take control of it in an unfair way. Like, I could just imagine what it's like to live in a country, like what, in any country, name one, I don't know.
My wife is from Venezuela, so I could tell you a lot about it.
Perfect. Mm-hmm. So Venezuela, like imagine being in Venezuela, you have your life savings, you just finally for the first time, you have access to buy a house, and you wake up in the morning and the valuation has went through the roof, hyperinflation. Now you can't even buy a house, your dreams shattered, no more dreams. You can't even do anything with the money that you have. Basically going to buy a loaf of bread. Before yesterday, it could buy a house. This isn't unreal. This has happened with Zimbabwe. This has happened. Turkey, it's happening right now. Yep. So it could happen in Venezuela. This is unfair to the people. And these folks are not trying to think about solving every problem in the world. What they do is they wake up and they think about their family. They think about how they're going to help out their loved ones and how they're going to go to work to help provide prosperity. And prosperity could just mean simple things like being able to get a house, being able to grow yourself a garden, and have a good time at the dinner table consuming some food. Like, absolutely, that's really what we're talking about here. And that's why decentralization is super exciting. Finally, fair access. In the United States, they make you do these things like mortgages. That's how you get fair access. And that equates to you pay 3 times the value of your house the time you're done paying off your mortgage.
Well, and so the practice in Venezuela, as an example, is they don't really have mortgages. They don't have credit the way that we do. They don't take on debt. They just take a little bit of the paycheck and they buy a brick or whatever they can, and they lay it down. And they work and they buy another brick or whatever they can, a little mortar, and they lay it down and they put it together. And you just do that week by week, year by year, until finally you have a structure and no debt. It's owned. It's theirs. But they put their blood, sweat, tears, and a lot of time into making that happen.
I bet. And there's a lot of pride in that too.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And today we in the United States are looking at 3D printing machines building houses. Humans should not have to spend a life doing that. That's unfair. If we can't have technology and something like 3D printing, that's innovation. That's another sector that can utilize blockchain, by the way. Literally any innovation that you find could intersect with blockchain technology. I would love to talk to somebody who says otherwise. Seriously. So you have the 3D printing. This definitely is going to make it cheaper. I feel sorry for the family. It has to do that day by day, week by week. On top of the fact that because of unfair markets that happen from the financial markets, it ends up creating bad actors that are like gangs and communities that then take away what was earned from those citizens. They don't even have fair protection. Another good thing about crypto is that you can do the store value in another creative way where you don't have to hold it in your house that could be raided by gang members.
Well, keep preaching. I'll keep saying amen.
I can rant.
We're going to dig into this more, and we'll see you on the next Good Crypto Morning.
Yes, good crypto to all.